We now head to the oil sector, where we understand that oil marketers in Nigeria are refuting claims of importing substandard petrol, asserting that all imported premium motor spirit is certified by the Standards Organization of Nigeria and the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority. Their response follows concerns raised by the Dangote Petroleum Refinery, which cautioned that some dealers might be importing off-spec products and warned against using deregulation as a pretext for substandard imports. Industry stakeholder, that's Robert Dickerman, confirmed that the independent inspectors alongside SUN and NMDPRA routinely verify imports to maintain quality standards. Dickerman also highlighted a 13-year agreement with Dangote Refinery for the distribution of products. SUN official reiterated the agency's commitment to quality assurance, noting that imports are tested in SUN laboratories to prevent off-spec products from reaching the market. To discuss this, we are joined by Temitope Kolade, a senior manager and lead ESG and climate change services at Andersen. Thank you for your time, Temitope. Now, straight to it. Can you just, of course, bring us up to speed as regards this development and this strong allegation where, of course, concerns have been raised by the Dangote Refinery and subsequent clarification by SON and also a sister agency impacting fuel prices on the market? What is your take?
The issue of quality standards is something that has always been in the remit of the SON as it pertains to things around petroleum products, refined products in particular. We expect the NMDPRA to take its role and ensure that it does its work very well in that regard. So unfortunately, in recent times, it appears that the NMDPRA has not been pulling its weight, especially when you think about even the pricing issues. And it goes back to when we had, for instance, subsidy is gone. At the very next moment, NNPCL adjusts the price and NMDPRA comes later and says, oh, it's just fine, right? So it's almost nice to hear from people to then begin to put allegations of this sort of indictment to feel that they're not doing their work. But I don't also think that we should take the words of those who are bringing those allegations for it, because otherwise we would have had several engines knocked in Nigeria altogether in the recent past. I want to feel very strongly that the NMDPRA is still a very formidable organization. The SON is also doing its work. But of course, it's important at this point to begin to evaluate how much that work is being done because of these allegations that have sprung up. Apparently, maybe for some self-interest purposes from whoever is bringing those allegations, but it's important to have a review and be sure that indeed there are no breaches as to the quality of the refined products that we have in the market.
I mean, talking about self-interest purposes, you said that even the allegations themselves should be thoroughly scrutinized, particularly the objective of these allegations. And knowing fully well that the player, putting it forward is also a key competitor in the business. But do you think that this would sort of impact consumer confidence?
Well, where has consumer confidence been all this while? As a matter of fact, I guess the issue really about consumers is whether the consumers indeed have alternatives. I think to a very large extent, consumers like yourself and myself are depending largely on the regulators to ensure that they do, to see that they do their work. Otherwise, there are really very few alternatives, if there are at all, for us as consumers. And so whether our confidence is raised or diminished, there is very little that we can do about it, except that we want to directly import our petroleum products by ourselves, which is not permitted as well.
All right, now let's talk about local refineries here in the country, because this is also part of the conversation that maybe if there were sufficient local refineries, state-owned, this could impact on price and to a large extent, you know, the conversations around quality. Do you see, what's your take on the issue of local refineries not, you know, springing up as Nigerians would expect?
Yeah, I mean, this is a long time coming, right? So we have the petroleum crude in Nigeria, and so expectedly we should be refining, and we should be refining a lot. But that doesn't happen, and now we have Dangote Refinery, we have the modular refineries, we have the promise that Port Harcourt will do better, Kaduna Refinery will begin to do better, and all of those. And so, yeah, that's good for the economy of Nigeria. But in terms of quality standards, the fact that we have local refineries doesn't also mean that SON will not do its checks, or NMDPRA will not do its checks to certify the quality of the refined products coming from those refineries, even though they are local. So the work of the regulators remains cut out for them to ensure that wherever it's coming into the market from, whether it's local or imported, they do the right checks. I remember again that just at the moment that Dangote came on board, there were concerns that the NMDPRA raised to say that, oh, maybe the quality is not also what was expected, and Dangote began to say to us that it's Euro 5, it's just, there are no additives and all of those. So really, I think it's about transparency from each of the regulators and the stakeholders coming to us that, see, it's not about the pricing, it's about us doing what we ought to really do. And we've got to be able to take their words for it from a point of just being transparent and doing their work, not because of some other gains or some underlying reasons that we have in there.
All right, Temitope Kolade is Senior Manager and Lead ESG and Climate Change Services at Andersen. Once again, thank you for your time.
Thanks for having me.
All right.